The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Sideline Summit. I'm Antonio Perez, joined by UPenn's finest, but at the crib, Danny Cole. We have another great episode for you guys today. We're going to be talking Thursday night preview. The Jacksonville Jaguars just had a crazy comeback win against the Cowboys, and the Jets have lost a couple ones. And I mean,
their playoff hopes have slipped down to 19%.
I mean, yeah, after starting 5-2 and looking like one of the best Jets team in nearly a decade
Ever.
Well, yes, since Mark Sanchez and Rex Ryan. I mean, one of the best teams have it looks like they're going to find themselves outside of the playoff picture. They're going to need lots of help. We're also going to be talking our favorite wild card matchups. I mean, there's a couple clinching scenarios this week. Bengals, Ravens, Chargers. They can all clinch with the Chargers with a little more help. Same with the Ravens. And a couple teams in the NFC can clinch in a couple scenarios. I mean, it's going to be a crazy wild card weekend, and we hope to get some of these crazy matchups we'll be talking about later. And then we're going to be talking a little bit about the Miami Dolphins, who
we'll get into them later. But
I mean, they
look good. They look
one
bad.
Of the most interesting teams in the league. I mean, they were one of the teams I was so completely comfortable on, setting them as contenders. But we're going to talk about a little more about that later on. We want to get into Summit's plummets. I'm going to let Danny start things off
with a plummet. I'm going to go plummet. My plummet goes to the New England Patriots fans for sending death threats to Jacoby Myers. It's not his fault that the team decided not to throw a Hail Mary on the last play of the game. He did try to do too much, but you don't send death threats to your player. Every Patriots fan should be ashamed of themselves. And say that.
I think, I agree with that. And in any situation, the tight end at Jackson State dropped the game-winning touchdown. Apparently, he's getting death threats as well. There's nothing for that in our game. In the sports world, in anything, you should not be telling someone to, unalive themselves at all. And in Jacoby Myers' defense, even just about the play, once you get lateral too, I think you kind of just forget what's going on.
Yeah. So definitely, maybe trying to make something happen.
I guess that's what we're doing.
But no, credit to the Patriots players for taking accountability. Mac Jones said, I should have made the tackle. Jacoby Myers said, I should have never thrown the ball. Ramondre Stevenson even said, I shouldn't even lateral. I should have got tackled and went to overtime. So
while that play wasn't the Patriot way, I do agree that's the Patriot way, taking accountability for the mistake. So good job on them. My plummet, I am sticking with the Patriots. Bill Belichick was asked about Mac Jones. Why didn't they throw a Hail Mary in the game? I guess most ideal situation, a tie game, you can't really kick a field goal. Give yourself a chance to, win the game. And apparently he said he can't throw the ball that far, but I don't know how true that is.
Yeah, no, Mac can definitely throw a ball that far. If you're a starting quarterback in the NFL, you can definitely throw a ball 55 yards in the air. And I think it's kind of blasphemy that Bill Belichick decided to not do that and go with a run play. That's on him. So it's kind of everyone's fault, and it's fine. So got to move on. Everyone took accountability. You bounce back and move on.
Yeah, I agree. And we want to kick it to summits.
I'm going to take my summit. My summit is in the NBA. Nikola Jokic is superhuman. We posted his stat line.
Huge.
40, 27, and 10.
He's only the fourth player in NBA history to have a 40, 20, and 10 triple-double.
He was dang near 40, 30, 10.
The only other players, Wilt Chamberlain, the Big O, and DeMarcus
Russell Westbrook.
Cousins.
Oh.
You would think Russell Westbrook's on that list.
You might.
I mean, you never hold that out as long as Russell Westbrook is playing. I mean, he could do it, but we'll have to see. I mean,
stat chaser himself.
Yeah,
there's dream chasers and there's stat chasers.
Yeah, Russ is stat chaser, but he's also dream chasing, and he's trying to help LA get back to the playoffs, which is
back to the play-in.
Back to the play-in. But I want to make my summit the LA Chargers, and we're going to talk about them a little more later. But I mean, you win 2 in a row. The last one wasn't pretty. It really wasn't. I mean, but a win is a win. They get a win against the Titans, which then sets up the Jaguars to now only the Jaguars, who were dead in the water a couple weeks ago.
As James Draws would say, the Jaguars.
the Jaguars or the Las Raiders Vegas.
Yeah.
But
New York stinks.
With that win, the Chargers not only set themselves up with a chance to clinch this week, the Jaguars have to win out. We're talking about the same Jaguars team that lost to the Texans. 13-6. They lost to the Texans 13-6.
Here's the thing, though. Like, the Texans haven't won games, but they've
been winning super. They've been losing super good.
Like the Lions last year.
Yeah, I mean, you lose to the Eagles by 12. You lose to the Cowboys by 4. I mean, last week you give the Chiefs, who are arguably have the MVP, a huge run for
Mahomes had finished 20 of 20, though.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's absolutely nuclear.
If you look at his pass chart, his 6 incompletions came on like a deep shot, a pass, like a drop, a pass out of bounds, or like a pass to the sideline. As Mahomes, I'm sorry, Jalen Hurts, but like Mahomes, if Hurts doesn't play this week, Mahomes is probably the MVP. Yeah,
and that would be my plummet, but I'm absolutely in on Minshew mania. But getting to the Jaguars and the Jets, the Jags, like we said before, they have to win out. That's all they have to do.
They got the dog in
them. The Titans can win their next 2. If the Jags win their next 2, it comes down the last week of the season. Titans, Jags, winner takes the division, and winner will host. I would most likely at this point say the Ravens or the Chargers. Probably going to go Ravens if they can get Lamar back at any point.
I'm not going to lie to you. I think the Jags can. I don't know where the game is, New York or Jacksonville. I need that wherever the game is, they're going to kill the Jets.
I think so. I think the Jets. I mean, you lose a couple regardless of who's at quarterback. You lose a couple tough battles. And the Jaguars seems red hot. Trevor Lawrence has seemed to find his footing. And
who's hotter, the Jags or the Lions?
I would say the Lions. I mean, the Lions' only loss after being 1-6, their only loss to this point is the Buffalo Bills. Man, I mean,
and a close game.
But the Jaguars look very good going into this game. I mean,
they've had more impressive wins.
Zay Jones,
they beat the Cowboys and they beat the Ravens. That's more impressive to me, though.
Yeah, I mean, Zay Jones had quite the game.
He's levitating, if you've seen that video.
Yeah, I mean, Trevor Lawrence is out here making, like, elite throws. He's looking like the quarterback that everyone envisioned him to be.
You see that elite ball placement.
He doesn't have that top-tier receiver yet. I mean, he might have several, depending on Christian Kirk, Zay Jones turn on next year, along with Calvin Ridley. But, I mean, they're hitting on all cylinders. A Philadelphia employee sent the Jaguars 35 cheesesteaks and 25 large fries to thank them for coming back and beating the Cowboys.
No one wants those cold fries, though.
Yeah, I don't exactly know. I don't know if they just ship them down the East Coast or because I got told today at work, if you pack a cheesesteak for travel, it actually travels pretty well.
A cheesesteak, well, the fries won't.
Yeah, fries are done. They're like eggs. They're like done after like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, Doug Peterson has his crew in a very good spot. Robert Saleh made I think his time management was just horrible. I mean,
who's worse, Robert Saleh or Jeff Saturday with time management?
I mean, Dan Campbell also has some pretty bad time management, but with Saleh, you hit a deep shot to Wilson. You don't call a timeout. You have 3 of them. And then after the second shot, you didn't call it again. At least after that second one, you got to call one, I would think.
You see, Dan Campbell said that I didn't know that we were calling a pass play to Penei Sewell.
Yeah, that was.
He's like, yeah, we'll go for it, and he didn't know what the heck was going on. He was just in the moment. Yeah. I think it's really interesting that happened. But on to the Jags and Jets, like Zach Wilson or Mike White, probably Zach Wilson. If Mike White doesn't get cleared, it's just you look at the quarterbacks and there's a clear advantage. And considering they're drafted in the same draft, it's concerning that Trevor Lawrence is that far ahead, and he's been that far ahead since he was in high school than Zach Wilson. I think my prediction is that the Jags really get it done by I think they win by at least a score margin, maybe 2 score. I think this Jets team has been carried by Sauce Gardner and good defensive play, but you run into a well-coached team with Doug Peterson and a very talented D-line. It's not going to end good for the Jets.
Yeah, and I mean, while it has been their D-line has been very good. I mean, a very quiet season from your number 1 overall pick, Trayvon Walker, but I mean, yeah, this offense is hitting on all cylinders. I mean, Evan Ingram had like the game of his life last week.
Trevor Lawrence has turned Evan Ingram into Travis Kelce light.
Yeah, and Ingram's always had the talent. Everyone knows he's fast.
Yeah.
Really good route running, and he really gets open. But it was always the hands, and I mean, like Trevor Lawrence has put his faith in his guys, and yeah, I would say the same thing. I like Jags by at least a score, like at least a touchdown. It's a shame once this Jets team, once they get the veteran quarterback that they need next season, I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. But I also think this Jags team, with another year under Doug Peterson's system, another year of Trevor Lawrence development, and you get one of the best route running wide receivers in the league in Calvin Ridley, who is probably betting on the Jaguars as we speak. Probably. But he's going to be absolutely fresh, man.
I don't think there's a team in the NFL, in that AFC, I'll say, that other than the Texans, that next year can't compete for the title.
Absolutely. I mean,
the Steelers could get it done next year. The whole entire AFC North could. The whole entire AFC East could.
I don't know about the Browns.
The Browns, they're questionable. I don't know why. Stefanski might be gone, but he's going to get another job because he's really good. The Browns might just hand it over because of, I don't know. Who knows? They'll probably give him another year because Watson was hurt all year. Oh, well. But then you have team like AFC West. We've seen that the Raiders and the Broncos, they just having bad years, but they could be a lot better.
I don't know. I mean, Nathaniel Hackett is obviously gone. The Raiders, they seem to just lose the tough ones. I mean,
the only teams that like really can't be competitive to me is the AFC South next year. Like, the Jags should run away with that. The Colts will be horrible, like always, and the Titans are like on a downhill swing with Henry not having more than 3-4 years left in his career.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to talk about how some of these teams. What are the directions of some of these teams? Like, what are the head coaches are going to be going with?
The Steelers have like a very low chance of making the playoffs, but I'm happy where they're going. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, in terms of this Jags and Jets game, I mean, they both got two of the best coaches in the league, and one of these teams will most likely end up on Wildcard weekend. AFC Wildcard dream matchups. I just want to get mine out the way.
Yeah.
Bengals Chargers. I have to see Burrow and Herbert in the postseason,
toe to toe.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they played one time in their career.
And then Burrow tore his ACL during the game, right?
No, I think they played last year.
They played week 1. And then week 2 was he tore his ACL, something like that.
No, yeah. You're thinking two years ago was Burrow's rookie year. That's when he tore the ACL. I'm talking last year. It was weird. So here's what happened. So the Bengals beat the crap out of the Ravens. The Ravens beat the crap out of the Chargers, and the Chargers beat the crap out of the Bengals. So they're like this little triangle there going on.
It's weird dynamic.
But I'm really like, I'm not huge on like, quarterbacks are a win stat, but I just really like seeing two good quarterbacks who are constantly debated against each other really go head to head. And I'm very interested to see how the Chargers, a healthy Chargers team with Derwin James, Joey Bosa back, how are they going to handle? Bosa will certainly help stopping Joe Mixon, and having Derwin James back will definitely help stopping Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. They did a good job with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. I'm really excited for this quarterback matchup, though. Let's just be honest.
That's going to be crazy. My dream AFC matchup sticks with the Chargers. Ravens.
And in a situation where the Ravens can pull out the division, I think that'd be a really good one. They met a couple years ago, and Phillip Rivers just barely squeaked by a win.
If not, you never know. This 3 seed called the Bengals might go in and play the Dolphins. Offensive matchup.
Huge. Any 2020 quarterback matchup, I'm in for. Like, absolutely. I mean,
here's the thing. Ready? Imagine there's a world where Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles play incumbent Cincinnati Bengals in the Super Bowl.
That would be huge. I mean, you have quarterback one. It would be a rematch of the semifinals in the college football playoffs of LSU, Oklahoma. You have Burrow and Hurts. And I mean, dude,
Hurts played his heart out that game too, but like, he just can't defend.
He put up 28 points and he got blown out by 30. Like, that Oklahoma defense, it was no good.
Sorry.
And I mean, that would be just a huge story for both of them, because I mean, they both have this situation where it's like Ohio State fans want to claim Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow did not play a meaningful football game for you guys. And Alabama fans would have claimed Jalen Hurts. That's a little more reasonable But Jalen Hurts is literally not in the NFL if it's not for Lincoln Riley, Oklahoma. But I mean, that'd be a dream Super Bowl matchup. But in terms of AFC matchups, I do like that one. I like both. I like Bengals Dolphins. Tua was the consensus number one until he got hurt, and then Joe Burrow had a historic season. So that would be a good matchup.
Yeah.
I'm really interested about Chargers Ravens though, because a couple of years ago, baby Lamar, he had to go play the Chargers. Nearly had a comeback, but fell short ultimately against Phillip Rivers. And Lamar and Herbert are two of the best quarterbacks in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't want to see it? I mean, I would hopefully think
we have to talk about this.
Would destroy the Chargers or the Ravens defense.
Justin Herbert is like 98% of a chance of playing in a playoff game.
That's huge. We're going to see. That's the one thing about him. Like we haven't got we seen Burrow take his team to the playoffs in his first go around. Allen's played in huge playoff games against the best quarterback in the league, Patrick Mahomes. All three of those guys, huge playoff games. Lamar's got a playoff win. I mean,
I don't bet against Justin Herbert until he plays Patrick Mahomes in his playoffs.
That I absolutely agree. Let's say they're in a scenario where the 6 seed, they play the 3 seed Bengals, they beat them.
Let's
in
say
a world, they'd be the lowest seed. They'd go play the Bills. I'm gonna be honest with you. The Bills defense is super sus. I'm not gonna lie.
Their safeties got hurt. They've had injuries.
I mean, if they heal up, that's good for them. And
I'm not gonna lie, Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa, a healthy Joey Bosa off the edge, will not fare well for Josh Allen.
Yeah, and I mean Josh Allen is like an absolute unit. That would be
the Chargers are getting healthier by the game.
I know, and I can't wait.
It's going to be a great matchup.
Healthy Chargers can bang heads with absolutely anybody. But moving on to the NFC, the wild card weekend could be absolutely crazy. I'll tell you one matchup I don't want to see. Whoever plays the winner of the NFC South, it's most likely going to be the Cowboys. They're going to be the best wild card team remaining. The Cowboys could end up with 12 wins and literally be the 5 seed, which is so criminal. They're going to absolutely destroy whoever they play.
It's going to be bad unless they play the Bucks.
The Bucks could possibly have their number just because they have Tom Brady, and they got him in week 1
twice. They beat him last 2 years in week 1. So Dak could have to get his get back. But I'll go with my dream scenario in the NFC. It would take a team running the table and the Lions not getting in. If Aaron Rodgers wins out and has a little bit happening, my dream scenario would be Aaron Rodgers going into San Francisco and getting his get back against Brock Purdy.
That'd be insanely tough. Not ignoring how they would get in or whatever. The Pack, I don't know, like with Aaron Rodgers, with the weapons that he has, how will he fare against this Niners defense? I mean, it's going to be tough.
Well, to start, they have to run the table against the Dolphins and the Lions and the Vikings. It's doable. It's very doable.
It is. They just got to find...
The Vikings might not be playing a meaningful football game if the Eagles win.
Yeah.
So the Vikings might just say, we're playing to get Justin Jefferson to 2,000 yards.
Yeah, I mean, that would be absolutely historic.
Yeah.
I mean, just like that, Tyreek Hill was the one on pace for 2,000 yards. Now Justin Jefferson leaps him in. That's why he just never do things a little too early. But I do like that one. And a scenario, or maybe where Aaron Rodgers runs a table, he goes into Minnesota and shows another NFC North rival that I own you. And he has owned this division ever since he took over for Brett Favre.
I mean, he played. Here's the thing:
situation he runs
when he played Minnesota earlier this year, he played pretty well, but the Packers wide receivers were
that was before Christian Watson decided to make his run at Offensive Rookie of the Year.
He dropped a wide open touchdown.
I just thought of another thing: when he's playing the 49ers, win or lose, it's an audition, man. It's an audition. I mean, I'm in on Trey Lance personally for the Niners. I mean, he was your 3rd overall pick. I think he's super talented. But I mean, look, you play good. Aaron Rodgers, Kyle Shanahan, you know where to find me. I mean, you give that offense Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
There's not a soul, there's not a team in the NFL that I think could take them down regardless.
Yeah.
There's only one man I would trust to take them down. That's Patrick Mahomes. And that's it.
Yeah.
But I really do like both of those. I like either Aaron Rodgers getting in. One that I would absolutely love would be Vikings Lions. It's that simple. We get to see it again.
I was thinking that too.
And it's like the Vikings are frauds, but they're just never out of any game. And the Lions play with so much heart. They got J-Mo, and Jared Goff didn't hit him on a pretty bad attempt. They got away with one last week, though, because they played the Jets. But the Lions, they win gutty games. They can beat good teams. I mean, there were sparks all the way from the beginning. They put up 35 on the Eagles.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The first 6 weeks of the season, they couldn't beat a good team. And that's why they went 1-6.
They also couldn't beat bad teams. But
I mean, they played pretty good teams the first 6 weeks.
I mean, they played the Patriots. I think they're far better than the Patriots. They got destroyed. I mean, I think they go as far as Jared Goff goes. In the absolute mid-off of QBs, you got Kirk Cousins versus Jared Goff with a chance to go to the divisional round.
Goff
I
has
think that would be huge.
Goff going against Kevin O'Connell, his former OC, for the Rams. I think they can get it done.
And I mean, Justin Jefferson gets takes another
props to Kevin O'Connell. Last year Cooper Kupp had the best wide receiver season ever, and then he's following it up by giving Justin Jefferson on pace to have
an even
better season. Yeah, Kevin O'Connell is probably a genius.
I mean, yeah, if you get a wide receiver 2,000 yards, that's unheard of. I mean, Calvin Johnson was 36 yards away. I mean, he was close, but I mean, getting it done. I would like to see him get it done in the next 2 games, so there's no asterisk. But I mean, it's the way the game evolves. It's how it works.
So props to, here's what I'll say: the Vikings and the Dolphins hit on their head coach hires. The Broncos
definitely missed when the thing.
Raiders missed a little bit, and then I'm gonna say internally, the Texans really couldn't do much. They weren't built to win anyway. But Lovie Smith has got to go probably.
Dear Texans, we'll trade you Jonathan Gannon for the first overall pick. Thank you. That's my pitch to them. With that being said, we wanted to move on to the Miami Dolphins. As we were saying near the beginning of the episode, the Miami Dolphins, they seem to be able to bang with anybody.
I mean, the Dolphins or the Dolphouts?
Dolphins. I mean,
I don't think you got my joke.
Yeah, I mean,
in or out. Yeah.
I mean, it's getting down to that. They were, 3-0, and then they lose Tua for 3 games.
The only 2 teams in the NFL that were 3-0. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Miami Dolphins.
And while the Eagles locked up their playoff spot, they just need to win 1 to clinch home field advantage. We have the Dolphins over here who they can bang with anybody. We know this absolutely. They beat the Bills already, and they almost beat them again.
Some of their wins have been fraudulent. They beat the Steelers by 6 on Sunday Night Football.
Exactly. I mean,
the Steelers when they were playing bad. Like Kenny Pickett was 1 game into his career.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. They're so iffy against these bad teams. But against these good teams, they're kind of rocking with it. I don't think that 49ers game, the final score, obviously, you know, it wasn't what it was. They played pretty well with them, but I don't know how to feel about them. At one point I was like, they're contenders. Tua's made the jump. Waddle and Hill, best duo in the league, and well, I still think that. Now I'm having some questions. I mean, how is the defense going to hold up against the big, obviously they can't hold down Josh Allen. They did last game, not this game.
The infamous too high look. What Mahomes can't beat, quote unquote. The too high look is because when you have fast players, you try to send them downfield and you run too high. They're going to run quarters or cover 2, and you got to adjust to throw underneath. And then the corners start playing aggressive. It's like having fast players sometimes isn't good.
I mean, I think
if you don't have a run game, because obviously if they run quarters, you don't have a run game, you can just pound the ball. Like Nick Chubb would have a field day. But you have Raheem Mostert and Salvin Ahmed and Jeff Wilson. That's not Nick Chubb, and that's not Dalvin Cook. That's not even a top 20. I'm gonna say that's close to not even being a top 30 running back.
I mean, here's what I'll say with the Miami Dolphins. I want to look back at I'm gonna look back at their game against the Bills. We'll go over some stats.
Yeah.
So against,
I believe Tua threw for like over 200 when it was like 40 degrees or less. It's like that's pretty impressive as a quarterback.
The Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins rushed for 188 rushing yards. Against the Bills team, they put up 29 points. They also threw for 217. Not the greatest considering the snow. Here is my recipe for success for the Dolphins. You're figured out. Teams know you love the intermediate throws. You get a lot of teams with play action. That's how players break out. Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, that's how the bad quarterbacks or mediocre quarterbacks look great.
For real.
The way y'all beat it, the way you can get back into play action, you run the ball. Raheem Mostert had 130 plus yards. I mean, the team as a total had 188 in the snow in Buffalo. Like, don't wait until it's cold and your quarterback's fingers are numb to start running the football. Run the damn ball.
Well, that goes to the Eagles too. The Eagles decided to say, let's run Jalen Hurts on 18 times when it's 20 degrees in Chicago.
Yeah, and when you should have been giving it to Miles Sanders, who Howard wasn't playing like the greatest game, but yeah, I would say that's my recipe for success.
So moving on, one last thing before we close off the episode. This week, the projected, I'm gonna pull this graphic up. Projected weather in a bunch of these games. So the 1 second. Bills Bears -11. Chiefs Seahawks -6. Saints Browns -9. Texans Titans 5 degrees. Steelers Raiders -4. And Falcons Ravens 7. If you're betting, take the under.
Oh, yeah, under passing yards, over rushing yards.
It's gonna be Christmas. Might be a white Christmas because of the frost on the ground, but it might snow. You never know.
But for you, it could be a green Christmas.
Yeah, it could be green. It could be green. It could be a red. You never know. But make that money. Make that green. Spend it on your family. Be a good person.
All right. And before we wrap this episode, I had one more little tangent I wanted to go on. Dallas Cowboys fans. This week you might not get to see Jalen Hurts, who I don't know if he's playing or not. I don't know if the sprained shoulder is going to keep him out. He was throwing dimes with it, and anyway, you're screwed regardless. That's what I'm here to say. Gardner Minshew is going out there to play for a contract. When's the last time we see a man do that? Matt Flynn, Green Bay records to this day. He has his whole family set because the Lions threw him. No, was it the Lions or the Seahawks? It was the Seahawks, right?
Yeah.
Seahawks throw Matt Flynn a bag. Gardner Minshew is about to go out for the 1 seed on Christmas Eve to play the Dallas Cowboys. If the Dallas Cowboys, here's what I'm telling you. You guys are going to lose this game. Once you lose this game, you're never going to hear the end of it. You will never hear the end of it because
imagine Jalen Hurts sees a doctor. He's like, your season's done. And Minshew takes the Eagles to the Super Bowl and wins the Super Bowl.
The Eagles will get bounced in the first round if Gardner Minshew is their quarterback. But they'll beat the Dallas Cowboys.
Because the Cowboys are first-round exits.
We have a man on a mission.
I was a cat.
He's playing for a contract. And the thing about backup quarterbacks is
they got that dog in them.
They got the dog in them.
Yeah.
They play with a fire. They're playing for contracts. They're playing for freaking money. And
I don't know if you saw the video.
There's nothing to lose.
Gardner Minshew was hyped last time he played. With his dad, he's hyped up.
Yeah, because he beat the Jets. But
he played week 18 against the Cowboys.
And he got destroyed. And that's another thing. He remembers that. He remembers he would have threw this awesome touchdown and J-Jaw dropped it. But you know who Minshew's throwing to now?
Quez Watkins.
He's going to get Smitty for the whole game. He's going to get Quez Watkins for the whole game. He's going to get A.J. Brown for the whole game.
He's not getting Jack Stoles as tight end one.
Exactly. Dallas Goedert's back. I know I'm the biggest defender that Jalen Hurts is not a system quarterback. He is the system quarterback. But, man, these weapons, Gardner Minshew, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun.
Grab your ham, grab whatever you're eating Christmas Eve, snuggle by the fireplace, and watch Gardner Minshew decide to turn Micah Parsons into a little boy.
Cowboys fans are getting coal in their stockings this Christmas, like this kid, Danny Cole. Anything to say before we get on out of here?
That's all we got, but just be on the lookout because there's going to be a green man coming down the chimney tonight. His name's Gardner Minshew.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Obviously, our next episode will be after Christmas, so Merry Christmas to everybody watching. And next time you watch this, Gardner Minshew will be the hottest free agent quarterback on the market next year.
Number 1 seed.
Thank you for tuning in.